Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Paul Beaumonte. Thank you for the honor of letting me tell you about an elite musical group that I had the privilege of leading for several years. Today, I want to share with you how the Army Strings supports our nation's leaders here in Washington, D.C. with catered musical selections, and how the Strings performance model can help you with support for your educational music programs. U.S. Army Vice Chief of Staff General Peter Corelli says about Army bands, "I fully appreciate and understand the effect of Army bands have on soldier morale. When I was serving as Commanding General of the 1st Cavalry Division in Baghdad and the commander of the Multinational Corps in Iraq, our bands were the most traveled units in the country. Their performances were critical to easing stress and bringing a little bit of America to soldiers who badly miss their homes and loved ones." General Peter Corelli is a combat-tested Army officer who saw how the positive music affects people during the toughest of times. The Washington, D.C. area is the hub of interaction between international dignitaries and their counterparts in the U.S. government. This often is the height of diplomatic situations, where policy is made and relationships are forged. I was able to witness many of these situations and experience the Army Strings' effect on the people who lead our country every day. It also gave me an understanding of how to know your audience and provide support to those who empower us to do what we do. Perform music. Music is the heart and soul of these events, even if you are at the White House or performing for the Washington Press Corps. As a staff officer, I could not nearly be as effective advocating for Army musicians simply by using PowerPoint. But a 20-minute performance by the Army String buys enough support for all Army bands, because music offers an asset that people want. Making the experience personal to your audience is your key to success. Tonight, I will introduce you to a group that few people outside the military know about. The Army Strings supports those who forge policy into law and defend our Constitution every day. Music educators such as yourselves can use this example of how to use music to support your leaders to accomplish their missions. You can find ways to support your superintendents, teachers, and administrators with your music. You can educate and teach your students by exposing them early to these performances and experiences. I will highlight just 3 points on what the Army Strings mission is and how you can use this model for success. 1, what the Army Strings has done for over 50 years for our nation's leaders through musical diplomacy. 2, the Army Strings is arguably the single greatest advocate for all U.S. Army bands due to the exposure and success they have had with our nation's leaders. My 3rd point is that music educators can find ways to be greater advocates for your programs by finding powerful music in the right situation. The power of music can move people to feel and experience like they never have before. Show your parents and teachers how powerful a music performance can be. There were times, my friends, where the Strings would bring the toughest, battle-hardened people to tears, bringing back a memory or two. People want to feel good about their jobs, just like you. You must find ways to reach people through music. The Army Strings remain a sought-out group for entertainment because the music they perform helps people find meaning in what they do. In 2009, Vice President Joe Biden hosted a dinner for the leader of the Greek Orthodox Church of America in his residence. The Vice President's staff wanted to make this a special evening with music that celebrated Greek heritage. What music would be better than Zorba the Greek and Chariots of Fire? His 200 guests were on their feet and then asked us for 2 more encores. Each time we go into a setting, we bring a package of songs that our audience will remember and take away with them. Remember, bring meaning to each performance. If your music ensemble can do that regularly, you will be asked back again and again. And isn't that the point, ladies and gentlemen? When performing for the military, government leaders, it is important to keep in perspective that music is intended to raise their spirits. The Army Strings is arguably the single greatest advocate for all U.S. Army bands. World-class performances for the leaders of the United States convey that musical support is essential for the morale of all U.S. service members in any environment. The Strings perform for the Vice Chairman, General Cartwright, on a regular basis. And if you ever saw the size of his dining room, you would know the meaning of the new word intimate. That night we were up and close and personal with his guest from Mexico. Forgive me for keep licking my fingers, the pages are very dry. After our performance, General Cartwright stood up, he raised his glass and said, "Every time I see a memo come across my desk that calls for cuts to Army bands, I say no. Army musicians provide a valuable asset to our servicemen and women. Music to keep their spirits up in combat. Intimate times require intimate music. Show your leaders why you are important to them and how they can infect a meaningful and memorable evening. Remember, it doesn't take a lot of fanfare. Just ask yourself, what is in it for your audience?" So how can you plan to give exceptional performances that support your leaders? You have to show them what your music programs can offer. Find ways to perform music at functions that your leaders are attending or hosting. Use these events as a growing experience for your students. Expose them to new music situations where you can create opportunities where 4 or 5 students may shine for an evening. You artists have to find ways to bring emotional experiences to your audience and your students. The Army Strings has been performing for Americans for over 50 years. Your music programs will continue to be successful by performing meaningful and emotional music. As musicians, you can create to bring a powerful experience to the lives of your students, their parents, and your leaders. Tap into what makes them tick. Find out what motivates your students, because then you have their parents' support. Your leaders love music. What is in their iPod? What movies do they watch with their children? Music has a unique and powerful way to bring people together with memorable experiences. Use that power. Your community strives every day to do great work. You, music educators, can perform and create meaningful experiences. Good luck and good music making. Thank you very much.